and welcome to Vampire Reviews. I am the Maven of the Eventide, and I am thirsty. Yes, I am very thirsty. I thirst tonight. I want to drink. I want to drink.
I love drinking.
Nella, what are you doing in my domain?
Oh, well, you see, you've invited me in before, so I just come and go whenever I please.
But you're not.
So, like, are we gonna be drinking some more pumpkin stuff?
No, it's not October.
Oh.
And last time we drank pumpkin, we turned into pumpkins for 6 months.
Oh, yeah. That's what happened. Wonder why I woke up in a field.
I was using you as a stand for my skulls.
There was paint all over me. It was weird.
So no more pumpkins. But
Okay.
we have drunk vampire wine before. You remember? I turned into bats.
Ah, right. So, are we doing vampire wine?
No!
Oh.
But there are other vampire beverages of the alcoholic variety.
Well, let's get started then.
Let's!
I never drink. Why?
Look with your vampire eyes. This is Black Fang honey wine.
Ooh, a mead.
A mead, a vampire mead.
Produced and bottled by Bee Nectar. That's the letter B. Nectar. From Ferndale, Michigan.
So since I guess you are drinking my mead with me, let's crack it open.
Sure.
She never lets me drink alone.
Never. So what do you know about mead?
I know it is made from honey, and I know honey is delicious.
Well, yeah. Did you know that bees in their lifetime only produce 1/12 teaspoon of honey?
That is not very much honey.
And yet each gallon of mead usually takes between 3 to 4 pounds of honey. This is a lot of work. Thank you, bees.
So it's purple. It's blood-colored. Blood-colored. That is because it is made with blackberry, clove, and orange zest.
Yeah, definitely the blackberry giving it that color. Mead can be aged for between 3 months to a year or even longer.
That's not as long as vampires are aged.
No, but honey, though, is technically...
Immortal, right?
Right?
Yes, honey is the one food that does not go bad. You don't have to refrigerate it. It will not spoil. So like the vampire, the honey is immortal.
Also, I guess depending on what vampire mythos you run with, they also have hives?
And queens. Queens.
Yes, queens.
Yeah. And it's got a little Nosferatu steampunk homage on the label. And it also has a missive.
Oh, yes, please read the missive.
Our kind has been around for centuries, living in plain sight, and yet remain recondite. Now the world is ready for us to come out of the coffin. I see there, a little Sookie Stackhouse reference. Don't be afraid. We're going to give you the choice to accept this dark gift. The mead is the life, and it can be yours. It's a little interview with the vampire there.
Oh, okay.
The seductive honey, clove, and orange zest penetrate the flood of blackberry in this forbidden libation. Oh, it's forbidden.
Oh,
That makes it more exciting. You never knew what life was until it ran out in a cold black rush over your tongue. It's only mead, Michael.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of little vampire homages in here. I can tell someone really liked vampire films who made this.
Yeah.
Drink up and meet your maker.
That explains the Nosferatu on the front. Although I wonder about the Black Fang. Is that a vampire that doesn't
Well, white
practice...
fang is a wolf thing, maybe it's...
when blood is dried, it has a blackish quality to it, so...
I think they just took two words that had to do with vampires and kind of smushed them together.
You know, vampires, you have to practice good oral hygiene. It's just...
Floss. Caution. Keep away from sunlight. Product will not sparkle in sunlight. Ah, I see what you did there. Be positive. BeNectar.com. This is a seasonal item by Bee Nectar Meadery, and you can only get it around the spooky Halloween season.
Yes. So let's give it a try. It is 6% ABV.
That tastes like mead. It's sweet. I can taste the blackberries.
Oh, yeah.
Very fruity. Sometimes I don't like meads because they're too sweet, but this is not too sweet. The sweetness seems to be coming more from the blackberries than from the honey.
Yeah, definitely. This is a very crisp, clean flavor. Mm-hmm. The clove comes through as well without being overwhelming. Not really picking up the orange zest.
I'm getting it. It's a little citrus.
So one thing I find really funny on their website is that they offer food pairing suggestions, which I find hilarious because it is in honor of a creature of the night infamous for not being able to eat.
Buffy vampires eat.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So, in keeping with the filmed vampires, we found the one that could enjoy this with a side of human and manchego cheese.
Human cheese. So why would a meadery that round the year makes meads of various types do a vampire mead? Well, Bee Nectar makes a lot of themed drinks.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this, I believe, was just their seasonal Halloween-themed drinks. And lucky for us, it was a vampire theme because vampires are the best.
Mm-hmm. Unlike zombies, which they also have a seasonal for.
Nobody likes zombies.
Yes, but it's also a cider, so.
I do like cider. No.
Shall we drink the next?
I never drink wine.
Next, we have... Don't look at me like that. Vampire Pale Ale. And yes, this is the same vampire as the vampire wine that we tried that one time, which
It's
you
trademarked.
have blocked from your memory. As you can see, it has a fancy champagne cork. It is a pale ale because vampires are pale, I guess.
Yeah, that art is really interesting.
It's a
What
vampire
does this mean?
eating hops, I think.
Sucking the hops out of
the hops plant.
Yeah.
So Vampire Vineyards, which makes the vampire wine and has been making the vampire wine for very many years, has branched out. They now make vampire vodka, Sangria,
And True Blood.
True Blood drink, and this pale ale was a limited edition.
Supposedly brewed by a Belgian brewery called
Belgian brewery.
Brouwerij van Steinberg. And
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, like, so please send me your comments about how I completely butchered the pronunciation of that. I welcome them.
It has a missive on the back. It says, Vampire Pale Ale, stay pale, because vampires.
So that's the gimmick they're going with. Great.
With its 7% alcohol by volume, Vampire Pale Ale is somewhat higher in alcohol content than regular ales, but it's not overpowering as the name might suggest. Well, then where's the fun?
Yeah.
What's the point?
I want to be overpowered by my vampire beer, thank you kindly.
Instead, its alluring color and aroma envelop the ever-present hops and fruity esters that leads you craving for more and more. Like all living ales, Vampire Pale Ale will continue to improve with age.
That's a good thing because supposedly you bought this 2 years ago.
Because they don't make it anymore.
Yeah, we searched. It's no longer on the website.
It says vampirepaleale.com. That website doesn't exist.
So I kind of wonder why it took us so long to drink it.
Because we were pumpkins for 6 months.
Alright. Well, like it says, it only gets better with age, so how about we
certainly hope
bust
so.
it open?
Ooh, spooky cork. That is a nice ale color. That
Oh,
is
I can smell it from here.
Not as pale. It's very cloudy, very dense. It looks almost weedy, I would say.
A lot of bubbles, a good golden color though.
That's nice. It doesn't taste 2 years old at all.
I think it does, only in that, like, I think it tastes stronger than they initially intended. It has
Better with age.
It has a slight barley wine sort of aroma
it
to it.
does.
So I'm sort of wondering, like, if it's still 7%. But it is a very rich flavor.
So why did they stop making this?
Well, I mean, we weren't able to reach out to the winery in time to ask, but just assuming on branding. Vodka is sexy. You think like dark nightclubs, like drinking in a martini
and
glasses.
Wine is classic vampire.
Exactly.
Sangria is red, and True Blood is a show.
But like pale ale, when I think beer, I don't think vampires. I don't think like, even if it's like classy, like fancy beer, like vampire beer makes me think you're living out of a trailer. Like,
There are some vampires like that. But I think they were probably trying to get every market they could.
Yeah.
And they said, we are sellers of booze. What else can we put the word vampire on?
Yeah.
And it didn't take off, unsurprisingly, because the kind of people who are into vampires maybe want something a little more moody.
Yeah. When I think of drinks that feel vampiric, I think of Shirley Temple would feel more vampiric than this.
I could put a cherry on it. It's good, though. As a beer, it's good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
But
I'm sorry they don't make it anymore.
You will never get to try it.
Sorry.
Because I've been hoarding it to my vampire tale. And since this wasn't actually made by Vampire Vineyards, because they're vineyards, so not beer makers, they reached out to this Belgian brewery, which I find pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I love Belgian beers. And
This is definitely a Belgian beer.
I am the sort of person who would buy all the vampire beverages regardless, and I would happily drink vampire beer over regular beer. Perhaps even over many pumpkin beers.
Do I even know you anymore?
That's nice.
Well, what's next?
That's it.
No, there has to be something else. We always do these things in threes.
I mean,
There
I
has
have
to... Wait a
something
minute.
I've been saving for a special occasion.
What's back here?
Oh, that. About that.
Cuvée or Cuvée Lestat.
Cuvée. It's a
Cuvée.
fancy French word for batch.
Oh, so as in like they made one batch of this, what's in this bottle?
Supposedly, yes. It's a 1996 vintage. This wine is 20 years old.
Oh my god, I'm so old.
You were concerned about the 2-year-old beer? Do you really want to try the 20-year-old wine?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I don't drink coffee.
So let me tell you the story of how I acquired this bottle.
Yes, please.
The place was New Orleans. The Vampire Ball. The Anne Rice fan club organized Undead Con, which was my first time going to Undead Con and to New Orleans and meeting Anne Rice. And I met Anne Rice in her favorite church where a meet and greet was arranged, and there a fellow was selling bottles of this wine.
Really? From a 96 batch?
He had 4 of them. So, who knows from whence they came into his possession?
Yes.
Who knows how long he had them? But I do know one thing.
Well, at least for 20 years, because it was 96.
When he sold it to me, he gave me a warning.
Is it full of the souls of the damned?
The warning was, do not drink this wine. Buy this wine for the bottle. Buy this wine for the nostalgia. Anne Rice will autograph it for you, and she was going to, but then she was busy and she didn't. I know. She was a very busy lady. Mm-hmm. But do not drink this wine. If you drink this wine, you will regret it.
Well, now I have to drink it.
Right? Apparently, it was a decent wine 20 years ago. It was made by a Santa Barbara winery called Babcock. And there's a missive. Cuvée Lestat is a perfect match to full-flavored Creole cuisine of the Vampire Lestat's beloved New Orleans. So we should be having shrimp gumbo with this.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Beignets.
This wine is a partnership between America's premier storyteller, Anne Rice, Interview with a Vampire, and America's finest winemaker, Brian Babcock. I didn't know he was America's finest winemaker. Well. The painting on this label, Coral Reef, is by Stan Rice, the artist and poet husband of Anne. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a very lovely, moody painting. Buy it for the label, they said. Do not drink this wine.
I love that it came with a warning.
Back in the 90s, after Interview with the Vampire, the movie came out, there was a surge in the Anne Rice fandom. Mm-hmm. And she was selling a lot of merchandise on her website, or her marketing managers were selling a lot of merchandise on her website.
Like you do.
And wine was one of the things they decided to market. And they partnered up with Babcock and produced this wine in a small batch, and was limited edition, and it sold for $30 a bottle, I believe, and was very popular at the time. But is it still any good?
Well, that is the question. Though I do also have an article from CNN about this that I found, written by correspondent Paul Verkamen. In Anne Rice's bone-chilling books, a vampire's favorite libation is often compared to red wine.
Because it's red.
Because it's red.
It's blood.
Now there's an even greater connection. New Orleans' favorite daughter is boasting libation of her own. It all started about 50 miles from Santa Barbara, where a unique search by author Rice ended in a vineyard. Rice found their grapes were ideal for producing a drink fit for any vampire, Syrah, which I find funny because they also produced a claret, which is a Bordeaux-style wine, and a Chardonnay under this Lestat label. The claret makes sense because it's a very old-fashioned type of wine, so vampires old, but Chardonnay?
California Chardonnays are delicious.
I know, but vampire Chardonnay?
Well, I'll tell you a story after you finish your article.
Sure. There's a lot of hang time for the Syrah on the vine, so it develops true maturity with real high sugar, as Brian Babcock says. So when you take it to the cellar and crush the grapes, the color just bleeds into the wine. Named for her character in Interview with a Vampire, Rice's Cuvée Lestat Syrah is sold for $30 a bottle. Just 200 cases of Cuvée Lestat Syrah exist, each with a ghoulish painting by Rice's husband, poet Stan Rice, on the label. For the Babcocks, the venture has been an experiment into the unknown. I didn't know what to make of it, Walter Babcock says. I said, who's Anne Rice?
What? Go CNN?
Well, I feel like the person who wrote this had beef with Anne Rice's popularity. They learned the author's hardcore following the hard way. People would call us from New York State at 5 in the morning, not thinking of the time difference, and you'd stumble to the phone thinking someone had died in the family and it was someone wanting Cuvée Lestat, Walter Babcock says.
I need my Lestat now! Send me the wine!
Interestingly enough, the potion will never touch Rice's lips. I myself don't drink, she says. I have not been able to taste one drop of wine, but I watch people's faces and they seem very happy.
She does love it when other people are happy.
Yes, and 20 years ago I'm sure they were very happy. So at this point, if Anne Rice is watching this, if she wants to look away, as we drink the 20-year-old version of the thing that used to make people happy.
On the chance that we might not be happy.
We completely understand, and yes. Thank you very kindly, Anne Rice.
So in the Vampire Lestat, the book, Lestat, before he becomes a vampire, drinks a lot of wine. Mm-hmm. And the wine he drinks the night he becomes a vampire is a white wine.
Oh, really?
He wakes up after being drained by the vampire Magnus, thirsting, craving a crisp, cool white wine. And that's the last thing Lestat has before he becomes a vampire.
Right. I see where you're going with this. All right. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense, then.
I don't think it was a California Chardonnay.
I'm going to assume not, but at least a cool, crisp one. So, shall we?
This is a Syrah, or at least it once was. Of course we must drink our fancy wine out of proper wine glasses.
Well, that's our first problem. Right there. That cork is...
That's okay.
Is done. Okay, let me try this again. Oh boy. I feel like we're just gonna smell it and then put it down.
You're the one who made me open this. I was saving it for a special occasion.
I think that special occasion is now, and it is...
Oh, God.
This is like what happens to vampires when, they've been...
It is. It's like a vampire turning to ash.
This is exactly what it is. Oh no. Stand by for technical difficulties. I think I need to pry this out.
I never drink wine. Ah, what the hell? Let me try it.
How did you get the wine into the glass?
Don't ask.
Well, it is a very deep red color.
I'd almost say it's cloudy.
That may be...
Because it's old.
Pond scum?
Usually Syrah, has a dark color. Still have some cork sediment in the...
It doesn't have very strong legs.
It has a very, it almost smells a little port-like.
Well, I like port. You brought this upon yourself. I bought it for the bottle.
I don't want to do it.
We have to.
Okay.
Ready? Just a small sip.
For immortality.
For science.
Okay.
It's not horrible.
No.
It's
okay.
still wine.
I mean, yeah. It's on the harsher side at this point.
I think it's about 40% ABV.
I mean, it's really acidic at this point.
But still kind of smooth. I've had harsher wines that were fresh. This is not... For all that I was warned, it's not that bad. Kind of like being a vampire.
Hey.
Oh, that sediment on the bottom is just like ink. Like, you know how in True Blood when they hit a vampire with a stake and it turned into this gross pulpy mess.
Yeah, that was pretty much what the cork was just like, actually. Yeah, I can definitely see how this, like, in its youth was young and fresh and would have been very enjoyable. Didn't age as badly as you were warned.
I mean, the cork fell apart, but perhaps if it was stored in better conditions, it might have been fine.
Yeah. All in all, okay, an interesting experiment.
Yes. So when it comes to marketing vampire products for the sake of making money and pleasing vampire fans who want more vampire products, this was a very successful, though limited venture.
Yes.
After Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire movie came out, there was a lot of fandom increase and a lot of merchandise. There were limited edition dolls that sold at auction for $2,000. And some of the popularity came back after the Lestat the musical happened,
right.
some years later. But it wasn't until 2 years ago when Anne Rice finally resumed writing Vampire Chronicles with her book Prince Lestat that things really came back, which is when I got this bottle. It was her first time coming back to the Vampire Ball after many years of being away.
Well then.
And now Lestat is back in our midst and in our glass.
Well, I think that's about all for you then. You have a baby to look out after.
Oh no, he's fine. He's over there playing with his skulls.
Oh. They grow up so fast. So next time we do this...
Next time.
Why not? Next time we do this, let's pick things that people might actually be able to find and drink and not regret.
Not obscure, undead, immortal
Yeah.
drinks that... So are you my sidekick now?
We shall see.
Why did I do that?
It's good. Renzi, look at me. I'm drinking wine and eating chicken.
Give me a blah.
Blah.
No, you can do better than that.
Blah.
Sexier.
Blah.
We like